Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle, and this is TSW Warriors. Today, I will be speaking with my good friend, Mariette. Mariette is an incredibly kind hearted woman from the Netherlands who flew all the way to Thailand in order to receive cold atmospheric plasma therapy to treat her topical steroid withdrawal. In our conversation, we talk about Mariette's TSW journey and how it led her to the clinic here in Thailand that specializes in treating TSW. We also talk about why this clinic has been so largely unknown to the Western world despite it being in operation for over 15 years. We also discuss how her success with the CAP treatment has inspired her to post on social media the knowledge of Jay, who is the director of the clinic here in Thailand and who may very well be the world's leading expert on treating TSW. In fact, if Mariette had not posted this information onto social media, then I would not have come here to Thailand to receive my own treatment. And in the few months that I have been here, my health has completely transformed in a very short amount of time. Not only that, what started with just the two of us has quickly grown into a small community of TSW warriors from around the world who have come here to receive their own treatment. It is truly remarkable how much it has grown in a short amount of time, and I'm very much glad to be a part of it. I'll be posting the links to Mariette's social media in the description down below. I encourage you to give her a follow. I'll also include the links to my own social media as well as my GoFundMe page. If you would like to contribute to my treatment here in Thailand and want to support me as I advocate in the fight against topical steroid withdrawal, then any and all donations would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Please don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It is my goal with this YouTube channel to create a TSW community where we can all go to support each other, and so where we can come to find the best information on how to fight against TSW. And now, without any further ado, this is my conversation with Mariette, the angel from the Netherlands. Mariette, how are you?
Are we already beginning?
Yeah, we're started.
Okay, I wasn't prepared.
Well, you ready now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm very happy to be here with you today, Mariette. So my first question for you is, could you tell me a little bit more about yourself and what your experience with eczema was like?
Yeah. So my name is Jet, and I had eczema since a baby. It started about 6 months after I was born. I basically had it all my life. Luckily, my mom didn't use steroid creams when I was a kid, but from teenage on, I used steroid creams. So in total, 33 years.
Wow, it's a long time.
That's a long time.
And how did you first find out about TSW? And when you went through TSW, what was that process like for you?
So I heard about TSW because a friend of mine went through TSW, but I heard about it 2 years before I started my own withdrawal because I was basically in denial and I thought I could handle it in another way. I spent about 10,000 euro on alternative therapies and nothing worked. Yeah, and at a certain point I got the telltale signs. So I could not be in the sun anymore. I had sun sensitivity. I was getting burned within 30 seconds. The spots migrated to locations I never had any rash before, and they felt different. They were much more deep red and they were hot. And yeah, I had to admit to myself, it's TSW, I have to go through this process.
Yeah. I think it was very similar for me because I had heard about TSW years before I actually went through it. So I knew it existed, but I just like put it at the back of my mind. I figured it, what's the saying go? Out of sight, out of mind. And then eventually I was just forced into it. So it is, it is something that unfortunately a lot of us have to confront when we take steroids for a long period of time. So how did your life change once you started withdrawal?
Everything changed. I had to stop working. I got housebound. I had to move in back to my parents' place because I needed care.
Yeah.
It was the first couple of months, it was extreme intense and extremely tough. It changed everything in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very common story. Now, when you first started TSW,
did you find that any treatments or diets or supplements, anything at all, did you find something that was helpful?
I tried many things that I read in the community. So I had a period I took baths, which were necessary at a time because I couldn't go through the day without them. But as soon as my skin was a bit thicker, I stopped them because I saw it was drying out my skin. I had oozing, so I had the zinc oxide cream. At a certain point, I used colloidal silver and manuka honey for getting infections under control. And so I tried everything that I read in the community. It helped a little bit, but not really big relief. I did think what helped me is that I made sure I did some exercise in the daytime and I did everything I could to have sleep during the nighttime. I think that was helpful. I tried cryotherapy, which is in the cold chamber. I heard many people had less itching if they did the therapy. Sadly, I did not have that result. I tried UVB therapy from the dermatologist, and it did give me a brief time of relief. I understand now it's not the best thing to do during topical steroid withdrawal because it also lowers your cell proliferation rate, but it did at that point give me some relief for the time I was doing it. But it's very temporary. As soon as you stop, the symptoms are back within 2 weeks' time. And then I heard the interview with Louise King on the TSW podcast, and I found out about the cold plasma therapy. So I made a list of things that I heard from the community that could be helpful, and I heard them a lot of times. I did deep research until I made the list of what things I could try. So cold plasma was one of them, and I trusted Louise King's story, and I decided to try out 2 cold plasma devices. So I wrote to a company who actually manufactures these devices as well in Europe. And the company was great. They were kind enough to lend me their devices for 4 months. So I've been testing these devices for 4 months on my own. And that's a long enough period of time. I should have seen results, but I didn't. The only thing that happened is that wounds from scratching, they would heal more quickly. But my TSW skin had no improvement. And I knew a couple of girls who were going to the UK clinic for the cap cold plasma treatment. And their results were amazing and so quick. So I saw their pictures and I was in contact with them, usually on a weekly basis, because of course they were super, super interested to hear my experience with the device I was testing. And I was so hoping to have a breakthrough for the community to say, hey, you can get these devices. But sadly, after 4 months, I had to admit that they were not helping. And at that point, I decided to come to Thailand for the treatment.
So tell me a little bit about how you found out about the clinic here in Thailand.
Yeah, that was a whole road. It took a long time. The clinic here in Thailand was, and I think still is, super hidden. So I found the name of the doctor who developed the device, Dr. Chang Chai. I Googled his name. I found a YouTube film with an interview of this guy. I started researching more, and I found out he worked in the international hospital here in Thailand. I wrote an email message to the hospital, but the doctor is already in his retirement. They forwarded his message to Dr. Chang Chai. 2 months later, he saw my message. He forwarded to the clinic here in Thailand to Jay, and Jay answered me. Like, the clinic here is closing down, but you can still come if you like. So it was a long way, but I found out here was a clinic, and I found out that for me it was affordable to go to this clinic.
Absolutely.
So the price of the treatment here is lower, and the cost of living here is more friendly. And so this would fit in my budget, and I had the opportunity to come here for 4 months, which I understand is not possible for everybody. But in my case it was, so I took it. I took the chance, I went, and I'm super, super, super happy I did what I did.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one who's very happy about it. So so after you discovered the clinic, tell me what motivated you to start posting on social media about the CAP therapy and about TSW.
Yeah, so what I found here when I came in Thailand for me was amazing. I found a clinic in full operation. Like there could have been many patients there.
Yeah.
There were 2 treatment rooms. The machines are made here in Thailand. Everything was there for people to come and to be treated. And the TSW community doesn't know that this clinic exists.
Exactly.
So that was my first thing that I was, how is this possible? That was one of the driver and the motivations to start posting. Then I met Jay and I heard his story, and he's been treating topical steroid patients for over 15 years with this treatment. He treated over 1,200 patients.
Yeah.
And this is different from a dermatologist.
And nobody knows about him.
Exactly. And this is different from a dermatologist because dermatologists, they see a patient 10 minutes, maybe every month.
Right.
Yeah.
They give them a prescription
and Jay has seen his patients during the treatment for at minimal 1.5 hours per week.
Yeah.
So he had all the time to closely observe the skin.
Yes.
He has a medical background. His wife is a doctor. His father-in-law is a doctor. Most of his friends are doctors. So he had all the time in the world to discuss with them what was going on, what was his observation, and then getting it linked to science, how our skin works, and what he observed to understand what topical steroid withdrawal is. And he took 5 years, almost full time before he had figured it out. I found this guy was here and nobody knows about him.
Yeah.
So this was for me so amazing, and I'm not a social media person, but I decided to start posting. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you very much that I'm so glad that you started posting, because if you hadn't, then I would have never discovered this treatment. I would have never come here. And now, since you've been here, a small TSW community has started growing. More people are coming in from overseas all the time just to see Jay and to receive this treatment. So I have to say thank you for that, Mariette. Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about the CAP therapy, how it works?
Yeah, sure. So one of the effects of topical steroid withdrawal creams, if you look it up, is that it lowers your cell proliferation rate. And if you use them over a very long period of time, then the cell proliferation rate, even though you stop using them, is still very, very low. It's very affected in the skin.
Right.
And this rate of cell rejuvenation goes up only very, very slowly. So this is why our skin thickening is, it takes so long to recover. And what the cold plasma treatment does is that it stimulates your skin cell proliferation rate. So it starts producing new skin cells much, much faster.
Right.
So, and then your skin can also thicken again much faster. So you still do need a certain treatment time. It's not overnight. I wish it was overnight, but it's not. You still need some treatment time, but you will recover much, much more faster than without the treatment.
Right.
Yeah.
And so so for a person who wants to get treatment, tell me a little bit more about what the treatment plan is actually like, because I know that a lot of people, they think that they can get as many treatments as they can in a short period of time and that their TSW will be all better, but that's really not the case. So can you explain a little bit more about what it's actually like?
Yeah, sure. So you need treatment in the beginning once a week because the skin cells need this stimulation over and over and over again to start creating more new skin cells. So in the beginning you need it once a week, and on average this will between 4 or 6 months you need it every week.
Yeah.
And then you can start with maintenance sessions, which will be first 10 days, then once 2 weeks, then once every 3 weeks, once every month. It's very case dependent. So if you might know, the severity of the cases is extremely different from one person to the other. Some people, they can heal within 1-2 years by themselves, which is a light case of TSW.
Right.
More
and those are cases that generally that individual has used lower class steroids, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, or a very small dose.
Right.
It's also possible. So the middle severity cases is more like 2 years to 5 years recovery time, and the more severe cases, like the very severe cases, 5 years plus. So especially for the it can be decades. So for the middle severity cases and the high severity cases, this treatment is life changing.
Yeah, a lifesaver for sure. It certainly was for me. I had been using about mid-class steroids for as long as I can remember, and most people who go through TSW, they have no idea how long that their withdrawal is going to last for. And that's a scary thought, to think that you could be living with this condition that's absolutely debilitating for, you know, up to a decade or more. There's really no way to tell. So that was a scary thought for me. But once I discovered this treatment, after listening to the information that you put out, I came here, and it has certainly changed my life in a very short period of time. So you told me that you've learned so much about TSW since you've come here, since you've received this treatment, since getting to know Jay. Can you tell me about some of the biggest things that you've learned?
Yes, I can. Yeah, so before coming to Thailand, many things about TSW were for me a guess. And I think in the TSW community also, we don't understand why we have those symptoms, and and this is actually very scary for a lot of people. I remember I was in the first 2 months and it felt like my body was in some kind of shock, and I was comfort down a little bit, because I read stories from other people that say, okay, this is going to happen and this is happening to me too, but nobody understood. And then I came to Thailand and Jay starts talking, and it's really?
Yeah.
And this is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good to have some understanding what's happening to you.
Right. As we were talking off camera before, Jay's like the only person who you can ask questions about topical steroid withdrawal, and he has the answers to pretty much everything. And that's just something that you don't find in the community.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me, it was like a light bulb moment to see that he can understand and explain every phase of topical steroid withdrawal. He knows that when your skin looks good and normal already, like the skin thickness is about 70%.
Yeah.
And this means it's still super, super thin and sensitive. So this is why you can react to irritants, allergens, stress, not enough sleep, and so on so easily. So it's not like topical steroid withdrawal is a beast and you never can trust when it's coming. There are reasons why you're triggered and why you flare.
Right. There are patterns.
There are patterns, and it's because the skin is not fully healed yet. It's not back to 100% yet. So these were eye-openers for me. Like Jay would be the first one to talk about irritants. And I noticed before in my recovery journey, like, hey, even if I have a little stress, I flare. Or hey, suddenly I can't handle dust. How come? And this all explained it.
Right. So just from reading some of the posts on like the Itsan group on Facebook, so nobody really talks about irritants, but all the time you read posts of people who are flaring from using deodorant or makeup, and it only makes sense that these products, they contain chemicals that our skin is not strong enough to handle when we have TSW.
Exactly, yeah. And it will pass. Like at a certain point, your skin is strong enough and you don't react to irritants anymore. But it's out of our sight, because they are things that you never reacted to before. So that's why we're super unaware about irritants exposure.
Right, exactly.
And he can explain it so well. So actually what's happening now is that I'm and you as well, we are being educated by Jay. We have weekly sessions of a couple of hours, and we get it more and more and more education about TSW. And I started posting this on the YouTube channel I made when I came here. Also, I understand much more now about hardened skin and elephant skin, which for the community was also, I think, a big question mark. And there are also some myths around it, why it happens. So this is for me also completely new information I never heard anywhere before. I learned a lot more about infections and how to recognize them. also this I think is very, very much needed. Like it's so sad to see posts of people that you can see there is an infection going on, and they're so doubtful and don't know what to do, and they get also sadly some wrong advice that people say, oh, it's normal ooze.
Right. And it's not only that, but a lot of people who get infections, they have to see a doctor to get a prescription to take care of that infection. And then when they see a doctor, the first thing the doctor says is, you have severe eczema, you do not have an infection, you need to go back onto steroids. And so a lot of people who have those infections, they're left with no options.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very, very sad. It's very important to try to find a good doctor that wants to support your journey. And you don't have to ask the doctor, like, cure me from this. No, you can ask him, my question for help is that you monitor my skin. That's the only thing I ask for you. Can you please monitor my skin? That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And other things I learned is that I now understand much better the class of steroids used, the potencies they have, and what symptoms they cause. So I understand that what causes the different severities in TSW as well.
Yeah.
And many, many more things. I'm taking notes, I'm gathering all information, and I'm putting it out to the TSW community.
How will you continue on from Thailand once you leave here?
Yeah, so I have a total time I can spend there is 4 months. I wish I could stay longer, but yeah, my life is calling me back.
Sure.
So
well, that's
then,
a good thing. That's a very good thing.
It's also a good thing, yeah. And then I will have maintenance sessions in the UK clinic.
Okay. What's the name of the UK clinic?
So in the UK, it's called Skin Solace, and the two people who founded this clinic is Jing and Louise King.
Right.
And they were severe cases of topical steroid withdrawal, and they both got treatment here in Asia. And they are
from Jay, right?
From Jay, yeah. And they decided to get the treatment to Europe, so other people could benefit as well. Yeah. And this is a thing, you know, the treatment works very well. There are no side effects. It does cost a lot of money, and it does cost it costs energy, yeah, it costs time and in your money, but it does work.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, 100%. And but it's up to the patients to spread this therapy, because TSW is not recognized. So nobody is interested, first of all, in TSW because it's not a recognized illness, and then the medical community is certainly not interested in a treatment for it. Yeah. So this is why it spreads so slowly, and it's up to the patients. And Louise King and Jing both took a gamble, you know. Are people going to trust us? Are we going to have people? They took a lot of time, energy, and money to start up a clinic in the UK. Yeah. I'm very happy they did, and it's possible to go there now as well.
And now they're booked out for months.
They're booked out, yeah. I hope in the future time this will open up.
Yeah, me as well. But clearly there was a huge need for it. I mean, not just in the UK, but around the world. And so it's our goal to eventually get this treatment out there to the globe so that people can get help from TSW, because a lot of people just end up feeling hopeless.
Exactly. Yeah. That is so sad. Yeah. So actually the goal when I started posting on social media for me was twofold. Like letting people know there is a treatment, and also that the Thailand clinic exists. Yeah. And Jay was actually thinking about closing it down and moving to Europe.
Yeah, but now he's going to be renovating it. He's brought in more team members to help treat more people. And I think that's very much thanks to you.
Thank you.
So thank you, Mariette.
And Jay.
Yeah, well, of course, Jay. But I mean, if you hadn't come in and posted this stuff on social media, then he might have gone on and closed the clinic.
Yeah. And the second part of my mission is to share his knowledge and experience. Yes. Like Jay is one of the nicest guys I met ever.
Unbelievably nice. Just
and he put all this energy and time in getting to understand TSW, and he loves this information to get to the community, like open for free.
Yes.
To have as much people as possibly benefiting.
Yeah. So in my case, so I first got in touch with you, you gave me Jay's email. I sent him a message. Within 30 minutes of sending that email, he called me on the phone and spoke to me for almost 45 minutes about TSW. He took that time out of his day just to try to educate me more about the condition and try to help me. And I hadn't even become his patient yet.
Exactly.
And that's just the type of person he is. He really wants to help others and get that information out there.
Yeah, so he's getting more busy now. I don't know if he does still phone calls of 45 minutes. But
I mean, at this point, so they're going to be renovating the clinic starting this month, I believe. And once that renovations are complete, they'll have more treatment rooms, they'll have more staff. But for right now, it's basically just him by himself. And he's getting pretty close to being booked up at this point. Because more people are coming in every single week, it seems like, which is amazing.
Yeah. But I think Dr. Toto is on his way to also being educated well enough for treatment. So people can still come.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think it's also good to mention that there is a reason why the Thai clinic was so unknown in the community. So the regulations and the law in Thailand are pretty strict.
Right.
And TSW is, in the medical community eyes, does not exist. So you are not allowed to make any advertising of a treatment that for a disease that in the eyes of the medical community does not exist.
Right.
So they never had a website. They've been treating here 15 years patients without a website. And it always went via word to mouth. So patients were treated, very good experience, and they told others. And actually here in Thailand, there are not so many patients anymore. It's like 15 years and most of the people got treatment.
Right.
And also the education to the younger doctors is better here now in Thailand.
Yeah, well, because of his wife.
His wife is a doctor, and she also educated people in university, and she told people about topical steroid withdrawal. So here the patients' numbers went down and down in Asia.
Right.
But for us as a community, we love to come here and have treatment.
Yeah, and so I've been speaking with people online about treatment here, my experience, about Jay, and oftentimes the first thing that they'll ask is, why doesn't he have a website? Why does the clinic have a website? And I have to those people who might doubt it, I do have to tell you that the clinic does exist. Jay is a real person. It's just been unfortunate that it hasn't been accessible to people on the other side of the world for this long.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my final question to you, Mariette, is where can people find out more about the information that you're putting out there?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram account. My name is JetTSW, and we put it, of course, in the description of this video. And I have a YouTube account. So the Instagram account gives also information about topical steroid withdrawal, but it also shows my own process of healing and of others. So people I've met here in Thailand, I do mini interviews or show their pictures. And the YouTube channel is different. The YouTube channel is really getting the knowledge and experience of Jay out there. So it's videos that explain TSW or explain hardened skin or elephant skin or explain severity of topical steroid withdrawal and so on. And the YouTube channel will be filled more in coming times. So this is really to benefit the community with this information, because there is, of course, if you can get treatment, it's fantastic. And I know it costs a lot of money still, but you can think creatively. Like myself, I started a crowdfunding. So my husband started the crowdfunding on his birthday, and then on my birthday I put it out as well, and it helped to cover my treatment costs, because so many people have seen you suffering for a long time. Usually the friends and family know about it, and they are super happy to support you. And I know many people who use the crowdfunding in that way. So it's opening, it's opening up your mind to possibilities to get the treatment. But I am aware that some people just are not in the position to travel. You know, they have a young family, they have work that they cannot leave, etc. But still, the information of Jay is very beneficial.
Absolutely.
Because during your healing journey, there are things that you can do to promote your healing, or things that you might do that are not promoting your healing, and your healing rate slows down and people just don't know about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just small adjustments, or you have to adjust things maybe in your house, you know, in your living space, that there are no irritants, and then your healing rate will be a lot better.
Right.
So it's not the channel, the YouTube channel is definitely not only for people to know about the treatment. It's really to get the experience and knowledge of Jay out into the public domain.
Right.
Mm.
And I would say that it is our goal, as I already mentioned, to get this treatment available around the world. It's really just going to take time, you know. But for now, there's a clinic here in Thailand. There's the Skin Solace clinic in the UK, and also if you're in Singapore, there's a clinic that treats TSW with the cap therapy as well. So there are options, and there is hope. It's just going to take time to make it more widespread.
Yeah.
Well, Mariette, I have to say, on a personal note, if it wasn't for you posting, I would not be here, and I would not be on track to getting my life back. The amount of difference that I have seen in my skin, not just in my skin, but in my whole mental outlook on life, it's completely done a 180 in the 2 months that I've been here getting treatment. And that really is thanks to you, and of course, thanks to Jay, but I would not be here with you. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And thank you for trusting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I was skeptical, but I am so glad that I came here. This has for sure been the best decision of my life. So thank you,
Fantastic.
Mariette.
Yeah.
Give me a hug.
We're
All
gonna
right.
crack the phone.